What is going down, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Danny Golding TV. It's been a minute since I've been on here. Just wanted to come on a little bit, talk about the San Francisco Giants, some of their additions, how the 2024 season has looked so far, and something I'm kind of passionate about that I haven't got a chance to get into that happened a few weeks ago with their longtime PA announcer, as you can see in the title. So, the Giants, at the end of the 2023 regular season, they fired Gabe Kapler as their manager, and not too long after, they replaced him with baseball lifer, former Giants catcher, grew up in the Bay Area, grew up a Giants fan, and an absolute baseball lifer, Bob Melvin, a manager that, unlike Gabe Kapler, players want to play for. He's been a longtime manager. He managed the Arizona Diamondbacks back when I was 10 years old and would go to a lot of their games, and that's a year, actually, the year that I went to a lot of their games, actually, they made a deep playoff run with Eric Burns and Chris Young and Orlando Hudson and Brandon Webb in 2007. Bob Melvin managed the Oakland A's for years, just across the bay, and most recently managed the San Diego Padres. And the Giants have added two of Bob Melvin's former players, of course, as well. Now, the Giants had a hell of an offseason. They signed Jung-Hoo Lee, who's considered one of the best players in the KBO League in South Korea. They add Jorge Soler, a World Series champion in 2016 with the Cubs and in 2021 with the Braves. And they add Matt Chapman, three-time Gold Glove Award winner, played for Bob Melvin with the A's. And they add, of course, Blake Snell, the top free agent in this entire MLB offseason. And Blake Snell is the defending National League Cy Young Award winner. He won it last year with the Padres. He also won it in 2018 with the Tampa Bay Rays. So, despite the fact that it's not looking so good to start this 2024 season, them being 2-5, they've had a hell of an offseason, and they're still somewhat in rebuilding mode, but they've definitely improved their team dramatically from 2023. Now, the Giants opened the season in San Diego on Thursday. They dropped their first game, but Friday, they got a hell of a win, 8-3. Matt Chapman with 2 home runs. On Saturday, Jung-Hoo Lee gets his first Major League home run. And Michael Conforto, who's been absolutely on fire this season, gets a grand slam. They end up splitting the opening series with the Padres, though, because they lose on Sunday. They actually get crushed 13-4. And then they get swept by the Dodgers. So they start off the season 2-5. And this National League West, especially with the Dodgers and the team that they got with Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and all of them, expect the Dodgers to probably get this division pretty easily. And, of course, the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are off to a hell of a start as well in 2024, are the defending National League champs. So I expect the Giants to come in third place in the NL West, but I do expect them to have a shot at the wild card. So things, despite a rough start overall to the season, things are looking bright, but one thing that did not look bright, was not a good look at all, is just a few weeks ago, the Giants, they tried to make it seem like it was a mutual parting of ways, but stuff came out in the days after that it was not even close to being the case, as the Giants part ways with longtime public address announcer Renel Brooks Moon. She's been the PA announcer for the Giants since Oracle Park opened in 2000. So she has been the voice of the park, the voice that everyone hears going to Giants games. And a PA announcer, maybe not quite as much as the actual play-by-play broadcasters on radio and TV with Kruk and Kipe, John Miller, and Dave Fleming. But Renel is absolutely iconic for the Giants. And any PA announcer and any PA announcer who's been there for years and years resonates with the fans that go to the games, and even the fans that watch on TV and listen on the radio can still hear most of the, if not all, the PA announcements in the background. Now, Madison Bumgarner, playing for the Diamondbacks, back in 2021 when the Giants played the Diamondbacks, and before the universal DH, he came up to bat. Renel announced his name. He got a standing ovation. That would not have been as iconic if it was a PA announcer that just took over announcing Mad Bum's return. It just is not the same. Now, Brandon Crawford, of course, the Giants kind of decided to part ways with him this offseason. He might play his last ever MLB game before he retires in San Francisco because the St. Louis Cardinals end the season in San Francisco. The fact that Renel Brooks Moon is not going to be announcing, now batting, number 35, Brandon Crawford, it just will not be as iconic. Now, Brandon Crawford returning to Oracle Park in what may be his last game, and I mean, that might not be the case. He could still play. The Cardinals could make it to the playoffs. But it just will not be the same. Now, regardless, it's going to be iconic. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be an incredible moment, just like it was with Mad Bum. But it just will not be the same. Now, the Giants, and I do not know if this is going to be their permanent hire. I think what they're planning to do is have it be a rotating thing where they rotate between public address announcers. But CJ Sellis is who they use in the spring training game when they play the A's at Oracle Park. She was the public address announcer, and and don't get me wrong, she did a good job from what I heard, and she is a good sportscaster, great sports broadcaster. I don't exactly know her background in public address announcing in general, but she seems pretty good. That being said, she's a diehard Dodger fan. Now, I know what you're going to say. It doesn't matter. Hey, and I agree with you. It really doesn't. Like, hey, Vince Scully, the greatest MLB the greatest baseball announcer of all time, of course, was a Dodgers announcer. He grew up a Giants fan. It's possible to be an iconic announcer of one franchise and be a fan of a different one. That's not the thing. But the thing is, if you're going to get rid of Renel and you're going to replace her with a Dodger fan, that is a horrible look, Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson, you are not a good owner. Now, it's nothing like across the bay what's going on with the Oakland A's and John Fisher, who's an absolute piece of shit and a horrible owner. And of course, the A's, things are just looking horrible for them. There was a thing that leaked the other day that telling their concession workers or all their stadium workers or whatever not to advertise anything that says rooted in Oakland, or the employees that work in the team stores to take everything off with the Oakland thing and try to avoid the Oakland branding is just absolute bullshit. And it would be cool to see a team in Las Vegas. I don't want to see the A's leave the Bay Area. I like there being two teams in the Bay Area. I was happy when the Raiders moved because they never felt like a Bay Area team. But as far as the A's goes, they actually have been there since the 60s, when they moved from Philly. And Las Vegas deserves an expansion team too, but they definitely do not deserve one owned by John Fisher. And the A's really should have been able to have a new stadium, if it's not in Oakland, somewhere in the Bay Area in the past 20 years. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. But Charles Johnson, he might not be nearly in the same ballpark, no pun intended, with John Fisher, but not only is the Renel thing look absolutely horrible, there was a story that broke just last week that they were going to get rid of the walkway tiles that fans paid for as a tribute to their relatives when the park first opened in 2000. And it wasn't on purpose that they got destroyed, but what happened was they're building a new park across from the stadium, and in the construction they got I don't know if they got completely destroyed, but they got damaged. And they announced last week that they were going to replace it with a digital kiosk, and they got just so much backlash as they decided that was not the smart decision to do at all. So they actually catered to what the fans wanted, and they were like, hey, this is not a good move, and they reversed course on it. Now they need to do the same thing with Renel. And it's nothing against CJ Sellas. I don't think she's even going to be the permanent replacement, but something against even anyone else. Renel deserves to go out on her own terms. That's what I got to say. But anyway, just wanted to come on here real quick and touch on that. And I'm going to be making some more content in these next few months about the Warriors, about the Giants, maybe about some 49ers offseason, just whatever I find interesting. So, Danny Golding TV is out. Peace.